Warning. This month's podcast is about movies with murder, sex, orgies, and leather. If this sort of thing offends you, you should skip the block. This podcast is supported by Cell Swords Entertainment and the Mad Tea Party Productions. When he takes his wife out to dinner, he has to wear the black leather gloves. Garrick Lane! When he shaves, he raises his razor up for the 30-second close-up. Lee Bridges! He sure hopes a crow doesn't fly out of a tree and poke his eyeball out. Doug Wall!
Benvenuti in Tales dal Video Store.
Wow! How we doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Woo! That last movie we saw got me amped. I loved it. It was the best one of them all.
Okay.
I'm already going into the movie of the
Slow down.
Slow down. All right.
There, champ.
I saw a lot of good stuff.
Such as?
Oh
How
no,
was
you
your
guys got
fucking week?
Dude, I don't know.
Nobody cares. Fuck it.
That's
Skip
right.
it.
Yep.
On to the next.
Yep.
Go
Nobody
ahead.
cares about the week. All right. So I watched finally Leave No Trace with Ben Foster.
Okay.
Very good. Very cool story. War veteran, PTSD. Him and his daughter. They don't ever really say how mom has died, but she's passed away. They live in the woods. They live in the state park, way down deep in the state park in Washington. His daughter doesn't know any better. She's getting to the age. She's 12, you know. And they live in this tent. They live. He sells his PTSD or his pain medicines to get money for groceries on top of his disabilities. So he makes one trip to the VA a week. They get what they need, and then they take it back to this tent. They go. It's really a cool movie, and it could really happen. They show one scene where he's showing her how to not blow their cover. Of course, she ends up doing it, and they end up, DSS comes out, and to keep her and to stay together, they relocate them to a house. Well, this gives her a taste of what life is really supposed to be. So he can't handle it. So they end up bouncing again, puts them both in danger. Ends up back at a really cool, some sort of hostel for war vets, where he's like, he still can't stand it, and he's like, I gotta go. And that's where daughter says, well, I'm staying. It's a great movie. It's heart-wrenching. It's completely believable. Ben Foster's fantastic, and he's normally the bad guy. And this one, he's just so good. There's not much dialogue. It's just one of those movies. It's a slow pace, but it goes along real well. It's got such heart. I give it an A+. I loved it.
Nice.
And then I saw The Running Man. That's it. Do we even have to talk about it?
No, you don't. I'm waiting.
I mean, do we even have to talk about how good that movie is? But here's the thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we all know it's great, but it's so relevant to today.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like the whole false fake news and the stuff that social media will show you that isn't the truth, and how everything is completely twisted by the media, and people are the song Vicarious from Tool. Everybody's wanting to watch people die. They want to see it. They want to see that video where that husband blows his wife's brains out. It's crazy. And that movie was when?
87.
87. And it's so relevant today. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. It was directed by Starsky. Starsky and Hutch.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It was. That's right.
Yeah. Yep, sure was.
God, it was fantastic. Richard Dawson was
so good.
To go from the man at Family Feud that everybody just thought was awesome to that guy.
Yeah.
It was super.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Oh, I absolutely. And I forgot how good it really was. It's really good.
Yeah. It's exaggerated, but now we live in a time where things that seemed exaggerated in 87 don't seem exaggerated now.
Oh, no.
Now it's more just things look dated is what seems exaggerated.
Right. Nothing about the story, though.
Right. Yeah.
And it was the best thing when Ben, what was his name? Ben, what was his character's name?
Ben Rogers?
Travers? Ben, what is it?
Ben Rogers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right.
Something like
Yeah.
that. God, I should have had that. Should have done my homework on that. Anyway, Schwarzenegger looks back and goes, they're getting ready to send him in, and he's like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Like from the Terminator. And then Dawson comes back with only in the reruns.
Yeah.
It's like the best line ever.
I love when Richard Dawson's talking to the old lady, and she asks him who she's going to bet on. She says she's going to bet on Schwarzenegger's character, and that old lady just goes, "He's a bad motherfucker."
Yeah, and then Dawson's like, they're betting on Ben out there. Like, this is all wrong. It's just, man, dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
Who wins? Who's the best stalker of the group? Did you like Buzzsaw? Did you like Sub-Zero, Dynamo, or Captain Freedom?
We never really see Captain Freedom, do that.
And that stuff he came in with the office, it was like
Yeah.
hanging on. It just
Yeah.
felt like plastic. I know
Yeah.
you never really see him.
But I gotta say, probably Dynamo.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a light bright. He just looks ridiculous.
And he's singing opera.
He's singing opera, and no, I like all of them. Like Jim Brown's great as the guy with the flamethrower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Names. I haven't seen
Yeah.
the movie in years.
Buzzsaw, Dynamo, Fireball.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Jim Brown, that was
Yeah,
good.
which they don't really. It's never really spoken of that he's in that movie.
Yeah, oh yeah, it really isn't. He just shows up like at the end after
Yeah.
they've killed the last three, and they go Fireball to makeup, and there's Jim Brown, and he's got that white streak in his hair. You're just like, yeah, it comes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's
I love
such a
that
cool
movie,
movie.
man.
Though.
Yeah, well,
Buzzsaw.
yeah, Buzzsaw.
Yeah.
I
It's
like
Didn't you
Sub-Zero.
ask? I thought you asked.
Buzzsaw.
Buzzsaw, I think, was my
He
favorite.
gets it the worst though.
He does get it the worst, but he could probably do the most damage.
Right.
All right, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I like Buzzsaw.
And that's all I watched.
All right, nice.
Well, before I start what I watched, tell you what I did last Saturday night.
Yes,
Yeah.
what I wish I would have been there for.
You were supposed to go, but you had other things. You had work to do, like an adult human. And anybody got time for that shit. I went and saw Joe Bob Briggs in Charlotte.
Yep, I saw the pictures on Facebook.
His lecture is How Rednecks Saved Hollywood, and it starts in about the 1560s in Scotland with the founding of the Scottish Presbyterian Church, and then he goes from there, basically from the Scots being transferred to Ireland, and the Irish and the Scots being transferred to Pennsylvania, then going down to the Blue Ridge Mountains, to the Appalachians, and basically traces that to starting in the movies, and some of the first movies had to do with sort of rural Southern life. He talks about a movie from like 1915 called The Child Bride, which is about a guy who marries a 12-year-old, and this movie is in the Library of Congress.
Right.
And just movies like I know a lot of obscure movies. There are movies there I've never heard of, and he uses over 200 movies as examples. Some of them he shows clips, some of it just shows the poster, And it ends it with what he, first it was the release of the greatest movie ever made, Smokey and the Bandit. And basically, at the end, he ties the founding of the Presbyterian Church to the release of Smokey and the Bandit. And it's all just, basically those guys in Scotland and Ireland, they want to be left alone. They enjoyed owning guns. They very strong religious beliefs, and they hated everyone around them. So basically, it just, that's pretty much, the founding of, Southern life in America. And just, really super funny, super nice guy. I met him, got my copy of his book, Extremely Disturbing, signed.
And you had it already.
Yeah, I already
You
had
signed it?
Yeah.
Did you have to pay extra for that?
No, I bought a poster as well. So they signed the book for free. But Darcy the Mail Girl was there. She's actually from Charleston, and
that jacket was glorious.
oh, it was he looked immaculate.
Yeah.
He really did.
Yeah, he did.
And he's super because I'm 6'1", and he's much
He
taller
looked
than I
way
am.
bigger than
yeah.
you. Yeah.
And but yeah, super nice guy. Like literally, he was signing autographs for an hour beforehand, and I was there for an hour afterwards, and I'm sure he was signing much later after that. Like literally, everybody who wanted to talk to him got a picture and got to talk to him, got something signed.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Nice.
Very informative. And I assume it will eventually just be a book because it's enough information to I'm
Sounds
sure.
like it.
Yeah. Yeah. He talked for 2 hours, no break. Loved it. And that. Other than that, I watched a few things. I watched a movie that's on Prime right now. If you have a Prime subscription, you can watch this movie. It's called Night Shooters, and it's about it's an action movie about a low budget film crew. There's this film crew in England. They're shooting a zombie movie, and this abandoned building, and they witness a murder for this gangland murder for this British crime family, and since a cell phone goes off early in the movie, so they collect everybody's cell phones. It's kind of similar when they collect the clips in Aliens. Like, it's just a terrible idea. Yeah. But then, once shit breaks off, the stunt coordinator, who's this Cambodian actor, everybody just turns to him like, do something, and they're like, and he's in. There's a movie he's in. I can't remember the actor's name, but there's a Cambodian movie called Jailbreak that's on Netflix as well. That's on Netflix that he's in. That he's great in, and the makeup effects artist, the sound guy uses the mics to try to tell where the bad guys are. The film crew they work together,
right.
And then the director lets everybody know that the building's going to be demolished the next morning, and they're not even supposed to be there. So no one's coming to look for them. And it was, like I said, super low budget. It kind of looks like it was shot on, cameras you get at Best Buy,
right?
But very entertaining, And the fight scenes are really cool. And the guy
sounds cool.
Yeah, and one of the bad guys, one of the henchmen, is Asian American, and they're like, when the stunt guy starts kicking the hell out of him, they're like, do something, and he's like, I don't know martial arts. He goes, it's kind of racist that you would assume that I do. And they're like, and they just stop with this conversation. Well, that's not really racist, and So yeah, funny, enjoyable. It's on Prime. And I watched a movie I mentioned during the horror block we did last time. Mega Time Squad, the New Zealand time travel comedy, directed by the makeup effects artist from Deathgasm. A really good movie. Really not great. Could be about a few minutes shorter, but it has a ton of heart. If you would like to see a stupider version of Time Crimes, this is the movie for you. And it's just really, really well done for a guy who's not directed much. This I think is his second feature, but he's mainly worked as an effects artist. But yeah, he'll make another movie. I got it for virtually nothing on eBay. I got it the last 30 seconds. No one had bid on it, so I got it for $5.
Yeah.
And like I said, I enjoy it. If you like time travel movies, if you like New Zealand sort of splatter movies, some of the cast from What We Do in the Shadows is in it.
Oh, nice.
And like I said, really enjoyed that. Then I watched a movie I'd never seen before called McBain, which is directed by James Glickenhaus, the same director as Shakedown. And it was the movie he made right after Shakedown. And basically, it's kind of like Commando, but with Christopher Walken as the.
Oh my goodness!
And it's not awesome.
I was gonna say that does.
I
like Christopher Walken.
Michael Ironside, Steve James. If you remember him, he's the black actor from the American Ninja movies. It should be amazing. And Christopher Walken's great in it. Like when his dialogue is just it's the dialogue's probably the best of James Glickenhaus's career.
However,
the action, Christopher Walken is not a believable action lead. Like when they have the flashbacks to Vietnam where he's fighting a Viet Cong soldier to the death, you're just like, I don't think so. It's just not believable. It's like, how I would compare it to is like when you watch Silence of the Lambs, you totally buy Jodie Foster as an FBI agent. When you watch Hannibal and it's Julianne Lewis, you're like, not so much. It's nothing to do with them as actors. It's just some people.
It's just the way it is.
Some people when they're casting genre roles, that you just go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And kind of like, but it's on Prime, so it costs you nothing to watch.
No, actually, that's wrong. It costs you $129 a year.
Okay, that's true. It doesn't cost you any extra beyond that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And you're going to pay that anyway if you have the subscription.
Absolutely, and it's worth it. So anybody that works at Prime, don't be mad at me. I would spend that money all day long, every day.
Yeah. But those are what I watch.
So I can watch crappy movies with Christopher Walken.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Great.
Okay.
Well,
I watched some things.
Okay.
Watched a few things. Before we got out of the Jalo pool, I wanted to delve even deeper than we have already been, and we have been pretty fucking far into it.
That's because you're a pervert.
Well, allegedly.
And a murder porn advocate.
Well,
So
I wanted to see a movie that I'd heard a couple of things about called Don't Torture a Duckling, or also known as Don't Torture Donald Duck. It came out in 1973. It's Fulci.
Yep,
Another
same director as
Fulci.
last week.
This one, though, for me was subtitled. It was,
Yeah.
and it's a really strange movie.
It's extremely strange.
So kind of the setup is there's the movie opens and there's these guys in this car and they're taking a couple of prostitutes to it. Looks like
sounds like my kind of movie.
like a rundown like little house in the middle of nowhere, kind of like where we are now, right?
Right.
And I guess they're taking them in to, go to work on them. There's like 5 guys and 2 girls, I think.
Right.
They get
And,
15 seconds each.
Yeah, and so one of them kind of notices this kid, like, trying to peek in, and runs out there, and there's, like, 4 boys that are probably 12 years old. And, they scatter off. Well, one of them comes up dead. And before you can even get into what's happening, there's a glorious scene with an amazingly hot woman who is totally naked.
Yeah.
Let me write this movie
Basically seducing,
One of the hottest women I've ever seen.
yeah,
Yeah.
Barbara Boucher.
Boucher. Yeah.
And she tries to basically get this 12-year-old boy
Yeah.
to come to her.
Yeah.
And it was fucking uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
Very, very uncomfortable. And at that point, I thought maybe I've gotten in over my head.
Right.
And then splice in some voodoo dolls. Just kind of random shots in there. The boys start to disappear. More of them start to die. And there's a witch that lives in the woods. So everybody in the village believes that the witch is behind all of this. A lot of it is hilarious. A lot of it is really confusing. But all in all, I guess it's something.
Right.
I would never... The only 2 people I could think of that I would ever recommend this movie to are sitting across from me.
Right. I've already seen it.
And Leah's already seen it, of course. There are some great scenes. There's this witch these guys come for. And it starts off with the craziest heavy metal music. And by the end of it...
It sounds perfect.
And by the end of it,
I'm
it's
gonna
like an
watch this.
operetta. It is so odd. That scene is so freaking odd.
Sounds just like the movie tonight.
No, it's nowhere near
But
as
the
well.
heavy metal music and
Right.
the opera
It is
playing.
so strange.
Yeah.
But
All right.
it is absolutely worth it
Right.
to see Miss Boucher in
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Wait, Lay's in school class.
He's got his hand raised.
You know what I'm going to
Lee
ask?
has his hand raised.
When the killer's revealed, not going to say who it is.
Yeah.
When he falls off the cliff,
Yes.
why does his head make sparks when it hits the rocks? Why does that happen? Because it's like
bone,
slow
I
motion,
guess.
like shot of like a puppet head of the killer falling off this cliff.
And hits these rocks on the way down.
And every time he hits it, just sparks shoot out. And it's like, why is this fucking happening?
I don't know.
It's like, and I know multiple people have seen this. Every person I ask, guys,
Yeah.
why does the killer's head make
I
sparks?
don't know.
And then that's what they say. I have no idea.
I have no idea, but I liked it.
I love that it happened.
Yeah, it was one of the best shots of the movie.
Yeah.
As crazy as it was.
But you can tell, like, it's so much more professional looking than
Yes.
New York. What did we watch last week? New York Ripper. Almost a New York slasher, but
That's all right. You were stuck on the
Right,
sparks
right.
flying.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I wanted to get a little deeper.
Okay.
That didn't get me deep
A
enough.
hot woman trying to molest a 10-year-old wasn't good enough.
It wasn't good enough for
Okay.
this guy.
Okay.
So I wanted something that was as late 80s as I could find it. So I found Lamberto Bava, who is Mario's boy,
Yep.
directed a movie by the name of Delirium from 1987. And it is about a woman who has lost her husband, and she runs a Playboy kind of magazine.
Yeah.
Called Pussycat. And they shoot these scenes, and then they find the next day the model that I guess is the star of the magazine has been murdered. So they're selling the magazines like crazy. But that's not the strange part. The weird part is When the first woman, you see her, she's walking naked by a swimming pool, and you see her from the viewpoint of the woman who is in charge of this magazine from her house, and then you see it from the killer's point of view, and she has an eyeball for a head.
Yeah, that's on the back of the DVD. Like, she has a mouth, but everything else is an eyeball.
It is a massive eyeball on a naked lady, and that's what the killer sees when he attacks her. And there was another really cool head. It was like a fly head, giant fly head on this other woman that he comes after. But he doesn't do it like, we've seen before.
Yeah.
He uses a pitchfork, and he uses bees. He unleashes a mess of bees on somebody.
All right.
Right? It has all the earmarks of a classic giallo. It looks great. Naked women all through it.
Yeah.
This one chick has got some fucking cans, man. I mean, my God.
She's considered the Dolly Parton of Italy. It's how she's built.
Very Dolly-like. That's who I was thinking about watching. It was kind of the perfect movie to get out of this.
Yeah.
For me, I think.
But do we need to get out of it?
I think I'm done.
I kind of like it. Why don't we just turn this whole podcast into the Gilo podcast?
Well, we can always come back to it.
We can come back to it. And then I did find a short that is on Prime. If anybody's interested, if you just want to stick your like pinky toe into the giallo pool, it's called Slit.
Yes.
It is 11 minutes long. I found it searching my giallo archives. I guess on Prime.
You were grooming your fetish.
And I asked Lee and Garrett to both watch it.
It was great.
I thought it was a pretty cool homage. Fucking hell. A pretty cool homage to this style of movie. I liked it.
Yeah. I like it too. It's very well done.
I thought it looked great, and it was short and sweet.
One
but
location.
It touched on all the stuff that we've kind of come to look for in these movies.
The music could be better, but then again, they probably had no money to shoot.
Right.
It,
Right. Outside of that, I watched.
They spent it all on color. They
Yeah.
spent it all on the
gels.
lights, on gels and Aries to kick all that yellow and green and purple.
Which I thought looked, like I say, I thought it looked
well
great.
for that guy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was perfect for that.
Outside of that, I watched 2 documentaries.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Sorry, dude. I won't get into them heavy. If you haven't seen the Andre the Giant documentary that's on HBO, it's from last year. It's fantastic. Any wrestling fan must see it. It's amazing. And the other thing I watched was Won't You Be My Neighbor about Fred Rogers as Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Dude, I was in tears at the end of it.
Oh, it's so good.
I fucking love that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an amazing human being.
I saw a meme the other day that said, "You're not the person Mr. Rogers thought you could be," and I was like, "Fuck that!"
Yeah.
Shit out of it.
Yeah. That was amazing. But outside of that's
He really was. He really was a wonderful human being.
He really was.
I'm glad I watched
people
it.
that they go 1 minute you go, oh, he's an amazing human being, and then you find out that he buys $200 prostitutes behind this guy. You could go back, and there would not be a scathe. Yeah. I don't think there would be. I think this is a true.
Yeah, he was a true American hero today.
Yeah, absolutely.
He basically saved public television.
Yes,
Awesome.
But
and he did it without any cuss words.
I needed some cleanup after all this giallo.
It's all palate cleansing.
I needed to towel off, and watching that, I was like, okay, I'm back.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was.
That's a watch you can watch, like when you're like come home, crappy day, you just think the world sucks.
Yeah,
watch that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you know what? My life is good.
Yeah.
That guy. If that guy thinks if I could be like that guy, my life is good.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So that was what I did.
Well, do you think that Mr. Rogers would have liked or would he have approved of opera? Do you think that Mr. Rogers watched that sort of thing?
I don't think so.
Do not.
Because the reason he started a TV show is because he saw turned on TV was the Three Stooges having a pie fight, and he was like, "That's terrible. I don't like that." He wanted to give something good for kids to watch.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he would never watch. He would make it in the trailer for opera.
The way he pitched that show.
Was awesome.
Yeah, they're just.
I'm telling you, dude, awesome guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dario Argento. Maybe not so
Did
much.
he ever watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
I don't think they got that in Italy.
I don't think he would have made opera had he watched it. He would have felt terrible.
Yeah.
And Mr. Rogers would have visited that set when that woman's tape and the needles were sticking into her eyelids. I think Mr. Rogers would have made him feel real bad about himself.
I don't think so. I don't think Italians like that. I don't think those type of movies. I don't think they have those type of feelings.
Oh, they may not.
Because
Well, Mr. Rogers aside, opera was my absolute fave of the three. I think from the steel grave hard rock to the opera to the shots that look like The Shining, the use of the Steadicam, the peephole, the close-ups of the eyes, the close-ups of the crows, like
the crow POV.
I watched this one twice. How about that?
Yeah.
I liked it that much. I watched it twice. Yep, it's got my A+ mark on it. It's great. You want a bit? I've already given my review.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's a young lady understudy at an opera. The star of the opera, it's a opera based on Macbeth, gets into a car accident, gets hit by a car. She then has to become the star. People around her start dying. You realize there she has an obsessive fan who is also obsessed with her mother, who is also an opera singer. And it's basically very simple. Most of it takes place in the theater. And it's just, that's pretty much it. It's just about this woman who's trying to be an opera star, and an obsessive fan of hers is murdering everyone who gets close to her.
So it's like The Bodyguard without Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston.
Yeah. This guy would slit Kevin Costner's throat, and
I don't think. Yeah, I think.
And add some crows.
Yeah, and add some crows.
Those crows.
Those crows.
Lots of crows.
Wow.
Well, what'd you think of it, Doug? Since I've already blown my my wad here and told everybody what I thought.
It's if we're talking giallo movies, which all of them that we've watched are somewhat artsy, if you want to say that. This one is much more so. This is a much well-made movie all around. It looks better. It just has a different feel than some of these other movies do. Because I think Argento is he's a better director all around than these other guys, is what I think. I'm not saying that he's that much better, but in this instance, like everything that he tries to do, it works.
Yeah.
Like you talked about some of the shots, like the heartthrob cam, like when. There were just little things like that where I was just like, man.
And I love it. You probably were like, Derek just loved that.
Well, that's what I told you. Yeah. It's got the gruesome graphic murders. Garrett talked about the metal, which is just great and hilarious, at the same time.
Yeah.
The shot through the keyhole was
the coolest shot in the movie.
Was just fucking perfect.
I don't know, man. My wife, she didn't make it all the way through. She doesn't like that kind of stuff. But she had to leave the room when those close-ups, and you could see that was no special effects. No, that was somebody doing that. Somebody was training their eye.
Yeah.
And it was so bad for her, she had to get up, and I'm sitting there going,
But all in all,
those were the best shots.
Yeah.
Cool movie, man.
Yeah.
From '87, right around the time that this kind of genre, I guess, kind of starts to go away. This is a nice swan song.
Yeah.
Really.
And it's weird because he sort of like, there was genres before 1970, but when he made Bird with Crystal Plumage, that's when he kicked into high gear.
Right.
That's when there were just people ripping on every scumbag producer in Italy was like, I can make one of those.
Yeah.
I know some morally flexible actors. And it's sort of like he doesn't like this movie because his dad died and his fiance left him while he was shooting it. And so he's like, this is his least favorite movie.
Just bad times.
Yeah, bad time. It reminds him of bad stuff. But it's not. The only thing is it doesn't have the scumminess of the first two movies we watched.
It's not that. It's cleaner.
It's the Alfred Hitchcock version.
Yeah, and he is obsessed. He actually made a movie called Do You Like Hitchcock, where a killer kills people like in Hitchcock movies. So he is obsessed with Hitchcock.
Oh, it's obvious watching it.
Right.
He's chasing some funky shots, and I think he succeeds in a lot of them.
I think so, too.
This is his last great movie. I'll say that.
Okay.
You go after this, there's some movies that are good, some of them are terrible, leading up to his version of Dracula from about 10 years ago, which is completely unwatchable. Yeah. Most people can't make it to the trailer.
That bad.
It's, like I said, there's a shot of an owl. When I first saw it, I thought it was a test shot. Like it's static. It's just moving like Man, I was like, oh, that's obviously they're going to replace that. That's like nope, that's in the movie. Like, the wings don't flap. Like,
What's it? What, the Dracula?
Yeah, it's called Argento's Dracula.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
atrocious.
Yeah.
At one point, Dracula turns into a giant CGI praying mantis. Don't know why that happens.
We talked about this at some point.
So this is, like, it never gets better than this.
Yeah.
You know, I would say Deep Red is probably my favorite. Deep Red, also, although Deep Red not nearly as well paced as this. You know, but, you know, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, Cat of Nine Tails, you know, a lot of his early stuff, from Bird with Crystal Plumage to this, it's all great.
Yeah.
You know.
Agreed.
And, but yeah, this is sort of like I said, it's almost the swan song of his greatness.
Yeah.
Because now, pretty much since then, he's been living off the
name.
Living off the name that he's the biggest Italian horror director ever. And, but yeah, if you never, this is actually, oddly enough, I'd say it's a good place for people to get into Argento. You know, like if you've never seen, like this one, like I said, it's not quite as scummy as some older Giallos. This one, I'd say, like, I think we said this the past 3 episodes. This one is really, I think it's, you know, more palatable than, like, say, the New York Ripper.
For most.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
But also I don't think the killer's as strong. Like, I don't.
No.
Yeah, like when you see who it is, you're like, oh.
Of course
okay.
is.
Like,
Yeah.
when New York Ripper, I'm like, oh shit, that was actually pretty clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this, I'm not going to give it away, but yeah, it's such a cool movie.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my favorite Giallo because, like you say, it lacks that scummy underbelly, and that's what.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
And the lead, and this isn't to sound like a complete scumbag, but the lead, I don't think the lead is not naked. There's only a couple of shots where they.
There's no real nudity.
She's beautiful too.
She is. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, I kept waiting and.
Yeah, this one, I think, because before this, a couple years before this, he produced a movie called Demons with Roberto Bava, which it takes place in a movie theater, and these demons come out of the movie. And it was actually a huge hit worldwide. And I think that's kind of, he got all that money from that. I think he was kind of trying to break into more of an international market with this movie. You know.
I'm eating pork rinds.
That's fine.
Well done, man.
But yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
It's on Prime, so, you know, it will cost you no extra to watch it.
And like we say, if you like to get your toes wet in the Giallo, then this isn't a bad place to start.
Right.
But I will say this: if you watch this and think that they're all going to be like this clean, and then
you are mistaken.
You are mistaken.
New York Ripper and this are two totally different style films. The New York Ripper reminds me of the Blair Witch Project, and this is a Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah. This is very slick.
Yeah, very slick. It's very, it's...
I expected you to compare it to Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread is... You're right. Well,
it's Phantom Thread.
But I'm thinking more like... The movie reminded me of The Shining. The shots where they're following her through the opera.
Yeah.
Those were clearly taken.
Yes.
Hey, we're using the use of the Steadicam. Look, Stanley Kubrick did it. I can do it too.
Right.
And then, and then the Hitchcockian close-ups. And the door, like the slow-mo, where you see the bullet go through the door, forget about it.
I love that. That's probably to me, that's the coolest sequence ever.
Yeah.
The bullet goes into the keyhole. You see a side view of the bullet going through the keyhole. Then the phone explodes, and then her head explodes.
It was badass.
Yes, it really. You can tell they spent probably weeks designing that sequence.
So there you go. Go rent it.
Yeah.
Stream it. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's good. All right. So now we've watched 3 official on the official.
Right.
Rate them. Doug, what is your rating on the 3 that we watched? Not all the 60,000 ones that you had time to watch.
I don't like to rate movies per se.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you
which ones you like for best or worst?
Best or worst of the 3 that we watched.
Which
one did you enjoy the most, and which one did you enjoy the least?
Torso, I enjoyed the least.
I'm with you there. So that's my third too.
The reason I choose New York Ripper as my number 1 is because to me it is more giallo than opera.
Understood.
It lives by the simple rules that we've gone over about the certain aspects that have to be in these movies in order for them to be considered giallo. And I'm not saying the opera doesn't. It just, Like
It
we talked
lacks
about,
the scumminess.
it's just not dirty enough for me. Is it a better movie? Probably. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if I'm wanting to watch this certain style of movie that I would ever pick opera.
Understood.
If I'm looking for an Argento movie, if I want to get into his stuff, this is a great start.
If you want to watch an Argento movie that's like New York Ripper, I suggest Tenebrae. About the same time as New York Ripper. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
More blood than should ever be in a movie. Like somebody gets cut and it's like a fire hose. It just goes everywhere.
Nice.
It's like it's almost like a Hong Kong flick in that way.
What about you?
Well, mine's pretty much yours with the swap of opera and the Ripper. Towards being number 3. Yeah. I obviously for different reasons, for the same reason that I'm the Phantom Thread guy. That's who I am. So I'm going to appreciate the high production. Right. I'm going to appreciate.
I do too. I appreciate it, but that's not going to necessarily.
Your argument is fantastic.
Over the top.
I'm just saying my personal preference.
Right.
And my personal preference matters. It matters.
We're done here.
Yeah.
I don't have time for confrontation today.
Here's what's weird. My number 1 is Torso.
Okay.
Because it has the scumminess. But it has the awesome look.
Yeah.
I think it has the best mystery out of all of them. As far as like the scene where the silent scene where she's trying to not even making noise when she's locked in the room, the door's locked from the outside. That's the best to me. That's storytelling wise. That's the best sequence out of all 3 of the movies.
Okay.
When she tries to take like the coat hanger, knock the key out,
and
puts the newspaper underneath, and then you see the killer. Like it doesn't land on it. You just see the killer gently put it on the newspaper. Like that's just amazing. And I like the mask. I like the sort of pantyhose mask of this. Opera would be my number 2 because that's just an amazing looking movie. But it does lack the scumminess as we talked about before. Number 3, New York Ripper. I don't really watch. I mean, those are the type of movies I watched when I was like 18, 20.
Right.
And I just rarely am in the mood to watch. Like we talk about when the hooker gets killed. I found that very hard to sit through.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was like 18, I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was like,
agreed.
But 20 years later, I'm like, ugh, I got stuff to do. Yeah.
I mean, they're tough to get through.
Yeah. So, well, we all had 3 completely different lists, which is awesome, I think.
Yeah, you're right. They're all completely different. Nice. Well, say goodbye to the Giallo end as we journey to Britain next week.
Yep.
To cleanse our palate.
There we go.
And do a little bit of British comedy.
Yep.
British dark comedy.
Dark comedies. We're not, we're
Is
not
there
watching
such thing as anything else?
Well,
Four Weddings and a Funeral, maybe?
Right, yeah. We're not doing that film.
Would Closer? That was such a good film.
Yes.
Would that be technically be a comedy, or would that be that would be a drama?
It's a drama.
What a fantastic movie.
Okay.
No? You guys are crazy.
No, I liked the movie. I liked it.
It's good. I mean, it's based on a play. That's why it's very talky, but it's
fun.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not doing it. Yeah. Well, I have one thing I have to say when we get into our news today.
All right.
I have to, I have to do it.
Go ahead.
But choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you will join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. The artist and writer, Kazui Koike, one of the artists of Lone Wolf and Cub, passed away this last week. And I'm just one person in the world, and I mean nothing, but his art and the movies that came after his art,
Which he wrote,
inspired my life. And Doug can obviously be here as a guy who introduced me to the movies that I didn't know there were.
Right.
Even though I knew of the comics, but didn't put the two together because I'm kind of dense sometimes. He passed away this last week, and I just want to pay my respects. I have all his omnibuses. I have all the art, and it's a huge loss. Yeah. I will continue to share your legacy. I've shared your I unbelievably have allowed my son to watch all those movies. Skip the nudity parts.
Okay.
And I actually had made a music video, had a rap video where I was actually given full reign to do what I wanted to do with it. It kind of had a theme, and I said, well, we're going to do Lone Wolf and Cub. And we did what we could for the amount of money we had to do it. But I will just say that it will continue to inspire his legacy. It will continue to inspire my career as I go.
Yeah, like he was basically like Frank Miller's basically said like that's the guy. I aspired to be.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
And he like those omnibuses you have. Like Frank Miller did the covers for those. You know, he was, and also if you ever see the movie Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks, that's based on a comic which is an English language remake of Lone Wolf Cub that takes place in Prohibition gangster times. So like most people know, but most people never heard of him. But he was like a hugely influential creative, writer and screenwriter, comic writer, just creative genius. And
we should do those films sometime.
Absolutely. Which is your favorite?
I think River Styx is.
No, I got the one where he fights the gods of death at the end. The second one, that one's my jam.
Oh, they're all tasty.
I mean,
they're all tasty.
Yeah, I love it. The last one, they were just ice zombies.
Yeah,
like they're burrowing under the snow. You're like, what's happening? But it doesn't matter because it's so awesome.
At that point, I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's my news. I don't have any other. The Avengers is tomorrow.
Great.
Or actually tonight.
Yeah, it's tonight.
Right, tonight. And a lot of people don't care, and we don't cover those kind of movies on here. But
My
the
family
hype
is
on
there
this,
now.
Yeah.
the hype of this, and what you did say something that since we're talking about comic books, and I'm sorry, I know you're ready to get to your thing, but I do agree with you. And I saw a friend of mine on Facebook who said, I read these comics 20 years ago and people laughed at me. And now they're spending their hard-earned money twice and 3 times to watch what I read 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. The people who go to Comic-Cons now used to be the people who would laugh at you for going to Comic-Cons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I looked a dude in the eye, coaches softball, football, and everything. And he's like, you going to come to the game? And I said, nah, I got to run D&D. And I was waiting. And he looked at me and goes, oh, cool. I heard that was really cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's really cool. So it's so funny how geekdom and things like comics and stuff like that, movie watching has taken this form now where, it's kind of come into where some people would rather go watch a movie than go watch the high school football game on Friday night because that's there. It's
Thank
changed.
you, Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes. Thank you, Revenge of the Nerds. Absolutely.
Well done, Skolnick.
Or maybe we're just getting older and everybody's mature now and nobody cares. But that's what it
maybe. Yeah.
More likely.
More likely.
Yeah.
Everybody's maturing except us.
Yeah. Which is
well, they call my son is a little bit eclectic at school, and they call him kind of a nerd and a bot because he plays video games, and a nerd because he reads comic books and yada yada yada. Yet the guys that make fun of him and try to get him to hump a sink in the bathroom in between lunch and fourth period run in after I painted the Venom and was like, River, dude, have you seen The Rock? It's the coolest thing ever. Yeah, it's Venom. You know what I mean? So it's very weird.
It'll never. What's weird is like comic movies are good, but comic books are not any more popular. Like those kids, they'll probably never read comic books. They'll make fun of your son, but they'll watch comic movies. So it's like I don't know. It's very weird.
It is.
I'll tell you, I didn't collect comics,
right?
But I did have 3 comic books that I wish I had still today when I was a child. They came out. There were Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 of them. I had them covered, like in great shape.
Yeah.
You know how much this should be worth now? Where are they?
I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
And they got stolen.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. By one of my friends.
Yeah.
And I never found out who. And I wonder if they held on to them.
Probably not.
Because I saw something somewhere.
Brad Glasscock, and he probably paid for his first house with them.
Cocksucker. But yeah, that was my comic memory from being a kid. I didn't really read them. I remember getting some here and there, but I never really got into them. I was more into let's go outside. When I was a kid, and when I liked movies, and some TV back then, but more so, I just wanted to get outside, But I love some Indiana Jones, and that's why my mother had gotten them for me. I remember sitting in her car and just being like, "Oh my God!" and looking at the pictures. I can still see some of the pictures, like going to the end and seeing how they did the scene with the Ark, and you see Belloc's face, and it's like, and it was amazingly done. And I'm sure if we looked it up, it would probably those in perfect shape. My God, I can
I'll
only
check
imagine.
that out while he's doing his news. Let's
Only
look
imagine.
and see what Doug's friend took from him. Original. Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Anyway, there's a
I'll do
movie
my
I just read about it
diligence.
today. It's a movie that's being shot right now called Chaos Walking, starring Spider-Man and the chick
Tom
Daisy,
Holland,
yeah,
yeah.
and the chick from Daisy Ridley from the new Star Wars movies. They've spent $100 million on it, and apparently it is unreleasable.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, and Doug Lyman, who's a really good director.
Doug Lyman's the director of Swingers.
And Swingers, Edge of Tomorrow,
Edge of Tomorrow.
The Firstborn Identity.
Yeah.
What?
Apparently, Lionsgate said they are not releasing it. They're going to do a month's worth of reshoots and then see from there. So I don't know. You know,
I did see that.
like, they said, yeah, it is completely unreleasable.
What does that mean?
That basically,
apparently,
he says he likes to find movies as he directs them. Like he doesn't plan out things a lot.
Right.
And which I can't be true for Edge of Tomorrow because that's such a well thought out movie. And but I don't know. It's just weird that $100 million has been spent and they have nothing to release.
$100 million.
Yeah.
They probably ran it
It was
through.
a huge trilogy of sci-fi books for kids. Like it's a what it is they want that Hunger Games money.
Yeah.
It's like these humans have left Earth and they've populated this planet, but now there's like this virus or something, and whatever I don't know. And
Does it look like that?
mm-hmm. And but I don't understand how it happens because we both worked on movies,
Oh yeah.
I don't know,
I don't even.
I mean,
$100 million.
the reason Badass Killers never got released is because we didn't have enough money to make it.
Right.
So if you had given Enix Young
Right.
$100 million, we would have made even though that script was terrible, we would have made the best movie ever.
Right.
I'm not real sure how that works. It's probably focus groups. The studio execs watch it. The problem is they put it in the theater, they fill the theater, everybody has their opinion,
Yeah.
they turn the opinions in, then they read all those and they do the data and the analysis, and then they put it back in the theater again, and they get all these other opinions.
If you
before
want-
you know it, like you always do me, Doug, it's so many times, tells the Crip listeners, where we'll go back and forth about something on the show,
Yeah.
and I'll nickel and dime some decision we made, and I'm going to change that, or we need to change this. And Doug Wall will always say, dude, if you change it too much, you're going to make it a huge mess. Just go with it, leave it. And that's how these
If you wanna
movies
read
end up.
something awesome. You can look it up online. The test screening cards for David Cronenberg's Videodrome, which is not a movie that should ever be test screened. Like James Woods has a vagina in his stomach. They put VHS tapes in it. I don't know what they thought people were going to see. And it's just like, one of them was like in just giant letters. Fuck you. It's like, that's all they wrote. They're awesome. They're awesome. You can, they're online. You can find it.
That's great.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So some movies should, I don't know. Dumbo. You could probably focus group Dumbo. Sure. Make it a little sadder, add more songs, whatever.
Roma.
Yeah, but can you imagine if somebody focus group Jaws? They'd be like, you don't see the fucking shark for an hour. That's fucking bullshit. And he'd be like, well, fuck, we gotta put the shark in there. And it would ruin the movie.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the absolute truth.
Can you imagine somebody going up to Sam Peckinpah and be like, Sam, we showed people The Wild Bunch, and they think it's a little bit too violent.
Yeah.
And then he would just beat them to death with whatever whiskey bottle he had in his hand. It's just like, something like I said, I don't know, some things just...
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to see that card.
Yeah.
I want to see.
Dude, you can do that. It's just like, it's in giant letters. Like, they just,
In giant letters. What did you think of the movie? Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's great.
But yeah. But like we talk about, like some things, I think some things need notes. Like there are some movies where you could go, ooh, this could have used another pass.
Sure.
But then some movies, like if you got a guy with a vision, then just
let him go.
do it. Yeah. But yeah. But anyway, the only other news story I had is the culling of 20th Century Fox movies has already begun. They were getting ready to start this giant CGI kids movie called Mouse Guard, which is based on, takes place in the real world, but it's Lord of the Rings with mice. So it takes place like now, but they all have capes and little swords and stuff.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, fucking a week before shooting, guys, go home. Like they're building sets because they were going to do full size sets, but motion capture the actors, so the sets would have been practical. but everybody else would have been CGI.
Right. Done.
Yeah, like 7 days before shooting. Go home, guys.
It got the razor close up.
Yeah, exactly.
The razor close up at the top. And go home, guys.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Gone.
So basically, like we talked about before, there'll be more Predator movies, Alien movies, Kingsman movies. The franchises will exist, but all the little weird movies, they're never gonna be made. Yeah. But that would suck like
Corporate cinema.
That would suck like a week before you. And it's not like they're making a little bit. This is going to be a giant movie,
Right?
Hey, there is, as negative as that is, and as terrible news that is, there is a silver lining to that.
Yeah.
And that is when Disney takes over the world, it makes all the same stuff. The little guys like us, the independents,
Right.
those movies are going to be. They're probably going to be seen more. People are going to want to
Right.
see those
I see what
more.
you're saying.
It might make them
Yeah.
more like even a mediocre independent film may end up doing better at box office,
Right.
bringing things up for everybody else.
That's fair.
Kind of like that.
like the late '60s.
Yes.
Movies just got so like you go back and watch like studio movies from like the late '60s, like stuff like Paint Your Wagon. Stuff just nobody will watch, and then like Dennis Hopper's like, I want to make this motorcycle movie, and like, okay, here's a little bit of money, and then it's like,
Yeah.
changes everything.
One of the best movies ever.
I mean, they could happen again, or it could not. But I mean, who knows?
Ye-
We're going to be
idiots.
positive and say
It will.
It will.
Yes. Yes. Let's be positive.
Yeah.
Let's be positive. Well, guess what? Nobody's buying a house with your Raiders of the Lost Ark. I found it, but it was worth $95.
That's it. Is that mint?
I don't know if it's mint.
It's in the 9.6. That's a pretty good rating. Because now they seal them in these plastic little tombs.
Well, I feel a lot better then.
Yeah.
So you only lost about three. How many did you lose? $3?
$300.
$300. That's a lot of money, man. That's
Yeah, but they were like 50 cents back then.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
well, there you go.
I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Still fuck that guy who stole them.
Yeah. Fuck you, whoever did that.
All right. Well, you got some movie?
I do.
Good.
I'm actually going to pick a movie that was a hit movie that is from a famous director, but I think still applies to the Giallo month. Brian De Palma's Dressed to Kill.
Yes.
Right? It's got a leather glove hero who uses
Woo!
a razor. It's got a female victims and a female hero.
It's got Brian De Palma.
It's got Brian De Palma at just his zenith of awesomeness. And it's, you can also watch it on Prime. I'm sorry, on Hulu, I believe. You can watch it on Hulu, I think. No, I think it is Prime. Scratch that. And, but it's, Angie Dickinson's this bored housewife, and she's, basically she wants to have an affair. And she ends up getting killed. And as she gets murdered in an elevator, and as the doors open, Nancy Allen's character, obviously,
The beautiful Nancy Allen.
beautiful Nancy Allen, when she was Mrs. Brian De Palma. She sees what happened, but she, it was so frantic she didn't really see it. So just like another Giallo, she has sort of a fractured memory of what happened. And also one of the cool characters is Keith Gordon, who's now a movie director, plays Angie Dickinson's son, who is basically Brian De Palma as a kid. Built his own computers, built his own cameras, just this sort of nerdy kid who was sort of ignored by his parents. And he basically, with Nancy Allen's character as a prostitute, they decided to solve this murder. And I think if it was in Italian, it would be a Giallo classic, but it was made by a giant director. And it was actually a big hit in the early 80s. And most people remember it from the shower scene with Angie Dickinson at the beginning. And but it's a really cool movie. And like I said, if you want to see a big budget Giallo, this is the way to go. And it probably hasn't aged that well politically. If you want to look at what's happening with the culture now,
Yeah.
it's a little insensitive, but I mean,
It was insensitive back then. It was different back then.
but like Brian De Palma said, I was reading an interview with him, and they said people say that women get killed in my movies, and he was like, I make violent thrillers. What did they think was going to happen to them? So that's sort of his view of like he's like,
Sorry.
he's like I like to photograph women and I make violent movies. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But also the hero was a woman. And super cool movie. Can't pray. Great score by Pino Donaggio. Great camera work. It's my second favorite De Palma movie. My favorite being Blowout, which I think is his masterpiece. And but yeah, love that movie.
Blowout's good.
Blowout's good. It is.
I don't know, man. This is going to sound so cliche and normal, but
Well, it's usually.
Oliver North's No, not Oliver North. I was just saying, what am I talking about?
Who are you?
I don't know, man.
Oliver Stone?
I've been hiking and I've been in a tent for the last 3 days.
Right.
Oliver Stone's script, Scarface, is fantastic.
Right.
Brian DePalma, that might be his masterpiece. That's just me.
I mean, yeah, it's a really good movie.
If you asked anybody, if you asked just a random off the street, I would.
That's what
assume
I'm
you would
saying.
get that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it sounds cliche, and Blowout is a close second.
Yeah. I mean, like the shot Blowout.
I like
when
The Untouchables.
When Travolta's going to the tapes and everyone's been erased,
Yeah.
and the camera's just spinning around the room, and he like goes over, puts this tape on and at the end you just see like the tapes are just spooling off the thing, just the floor is covered in audio tape, and the camera just keeps spinning. It's kind of like a very similar shot to opera. Mm-hmm. You know, and oddly enough, I have a book called Spaghetti Nightmares. It's just interviews with Italian horror directors. Argento, he's like, I love all my friends from America. He's like, I love Toby Hooper. I love John Landis. He's like, I love George Romero, John Carpenter. He's like, I fucking hate Brian De Palma. And I was like, how come these two guys, the two guys who are the most obsessed with Hitchcock ever, just you put them in a room together, they're like, fuck that guy.
That's because because their style is so much. It's the
Similar.
same thing. Yes.
Yeah. And they've always been compared to one another. Like, you know, you read stuff, people are like, oh, Argento, he's the Italian. He's the Italian De Palma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's probably what it is.
I mean, it's,
But, yeah.
it's just like, this has nothing to do with anything, but this is what came up. You either think Michael Jordan's the best or you think LeBron James is the best. There's no discussion about Kobe Bryant. And people that think that Michael Jordan's the best effing hate LeBron. And it's vice versa. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the same thing. Those two are so much
They're
alike. It's so good, and they're both trying to be to look like Alfred Hitchcock. That their egos are just like, fuck you.
Exactly. That's a good point.
You know, that's just me there. Well, speaking of alpha males, my showdown's going to be fantastic this week. Now that we're done and Virginia's won the championship of basketball and Final Fours and brackets are all done, we're going to do a bracket here on Tales from the Video Store.
Uh-oh.
That's right. For the next 3 weeks, we're going to do the Running Man Stalkers. And we're going to do a bracket. And your guys are going to get to vote on it. We're going to have Fireball up against Sub-Zero, Dynamo up against Buzzsaw. We'll take the winner of those two, and we'll challenge them next week to see who is the best stalker.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So get your votes out. Go watch your movie. It's on Prime. Go check it out. Remember what these guys said and make your own judgment. But we're having a Final Four of Running Man Stalkers.
Okay.
Yep.
I would almost put Richard Dawson in a bracket, but
Yeah.
I don't think he would.
Now, if it was a bracket for awesomeness, you would have to.
And he would win.
He would win.
That's right. So that'll be up on the Facebook page. We are still going to. It looks like because due to scheduling and things like this, we're going to postpone the spot trip, or where we're going to go to the spot, pick out a movie on the shelf and watch it.
We've only been talking about it for fucking 3
I know.
months.
Well, they're running some sales. They're doing some crazy things, and we're kind of consistent on our weeks. And everybody's, our schedules are changing and things are changing, and it's just we've got something good going. And they can't accommodate us kind of when we need it. I don't want to do it in between a block. I think we should keep with the blocks.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
if we're going to
We should
do
split
it,
a
it needs to be in between a block, and we just can't get it scheduled right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to step right in. What's our movie? What's our first movie?
We're going to do dark British comedies. We're going to do our next movie is In Bruges from 2008.
Sweet.
It's actually a British movie, but it takes place in Belgium.
Rafe, my favorite actor ever.
Yeah, he's great in it. That's his funniest performance.
Yeah.
When he's talking to Brendan Gleeson and he starts slamming the phone down, and his wife comes in the room and goes, "Harry, it's an inanimate object." He's just looking at it and goes, "You're a fucking inanimate object." Then immediately he just apologizes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I don't know. The Budapest Hotel, man.
No, he's great. He's
a
great in that. But he's insane in this movie.
Yeah, it is great, and I can't wait to watch it again. I can't wait. So we are going to go jump right into the next block next week, and we're going to do In Bruges.
Yep.
Dark comedies. That's all the stuff I have today. I don't have any. I didn't go to Joe Bob, and I don't have any events going on these days. Besides, I'm taking the kids first thing in the morning to the Avengers because I promised them.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know how it is. I'm sure everybody will.
I'll hear about it tonight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you will.
Yeah. Family is there now.
There you go. It is on.
Thank God I'm not there.
Yeah. 3 hours.
3 hours. Thank goodness this podcast isn't 3 hours.
Yeah.
I was listening
couldn't handle it.
I was listening to one about the same stuff that we do, and it's 2 hours and 46 minutes, and I'm like, dude, I didn't get out of the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think you have a pretty good flow with ours.
No, I don't know. You guys tell us.
Yeah.
Or you could send your comment card in and go, fuck you. Thank you to our sponsors, Table Rock Creative Group, Golden Ticket Cinemas, The Spot Toys, and Jabberwocky RPGs.